Hey guys, welcome to my conversation with your Presbyterian women's head coach. Coach, I want to say Vutianitis. Is that how I say it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. But we're going to say Coach V from this point forward, if that's okay, because I
Nice.
might stumble upon it all the way through. First, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jason. We appreciate you having us.
No, no problem. No problem. You've got you've got the first ever, you're in charge of the first ever D1 women's program ever in the country. Um, you guys have built such a great program over the last several years. I mean, it's not really, we're really still in our infancy, and such. Um, how awesome is it to take over the program and like it's now your ship and you're kind of directing everything where it's going?
Well, I'd love to think it was my ship. There's 30 girls here that'll tell you differently, but yeah, we are. It's been a blessing. I started here as a head men's and women's assistant coach, and so
Right.
I was here for 2 years, and halfway through my second year as an interim women's coach, and eventually got the full-time job by
Hmm.
the end of that year. So going into my second full year of being the head coach, and really, it's just been awesome. I think through the interview process and through being here prior to actually interviewing for the job, really the girls who are here and bought in and who really appreciated what we were looking to do here were why I wanted to stay. And the college itself, just the things that are going on here feel really special and they're headed in the right direction. And just the overall growth atmosphere that we've got going on here, I feel really, really good about it. Being the first ever women's program, I felt like this was a great step for me in my own coaching journey, but really just an opportunity for me to hopefully help a great cause and a great opportunity for me to use what I know to hopefully continue to elevate the sport as a whole.
Hmm.
Obviously, we want to elevate our own program and do some great things, but I really think that this is the perfect timing for to be in a role like this and to create and just bring exciting things to the sport. We do have a very good platform in terms of being the first ever Division I program, but we're really just trying to make it our program and still figuring those kind of things out.
Sure.
But it feels good. I'm really really happy to be here. It
So
gets better every day. So.
yeah, so what it's got to communicate something to you that Presbyterian was not only starting a men's program, but was willing to take the step into women's wrestling way back. We're talking, 2016, I think is when Coach Cody was hired as director of both programs or whatever. That's some time and that's a commitment where I think we're still waiting for some of that commitment from other programs and other institutions. What does it communicate to you that Presbyterian said, we're in, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think just as a school, I think that's awesome. We're in a time at this school where more recently we've been able to feel a lot of that. We actually do have our first ever at PC women's athletic director or female athletic director, and we also have our first ever female president. So a couple of firsts, and we're kind of part of that. I do believe we were a little later than 2016. I think it was 2018 when they announced, and then it kind of moved into
Oh, was it? I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay.
no, no, yeah, but it's actually it says a lot about what has happened. It's actually happened maybe a little bit quicker than that. So it was a quick turnaround for getting a recruiting class in and starting to compete, and then COVID, right? So
Right.
we
Right.
actually have really only had three full-time scheduled seasons. And so we're moving into our fourth full-time scheduled season, and really the girls have done a really, really great job, and the school has done a great job navigating the whole thing because it is new. Wrestling is very new just in this area. Even the high school in our town has never had wrestling before. So just the idea of wrestling as a whole, let alone women's wrestling, has been, a little bit of a speed bump to get over and work through, but it's been exciting because people hear about it and they're immediately intrigued.
Yeah. I mean, for everybody who's out there that doesn't recognize kind of the landscape, South Carolina had the first D1 women's wrestling program, and it was before women's wrestling was sanctioned in high school in the state.
Yeah,
So
which just
that is,
happened last year.
yeah, which is absolutely crazy to me that they just seemed like they were definitely on the front foot in making it
Yeah.
happen. And you guys, you're taking it to the next level. And I want to talk about your roster, and I want to talk about, your finishes in the past and those sorts of things. But, I've seen it on social media time and again. Throwdown on the Yorktown. You guys are going to wrestle on is it a battleship or is it an aircraft carrier? What is
Yeah,
it?
aircraft carrier. Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, we're just upping the game. How did that come about? And it's such a good, it seems like it's going to be a great environment.
Yeah, well, we're excited about that. Neil Collins, he's heading that. He put that event together, and it was something they reached out about. And they just were really excited about what we've got going on. I do know, it conflicts with the men's schedule a little bit, but they really wanted to highlight women's duel. And obviously, I think they came to us for a good reason. We were the first ever program in or Division I program in South Carolina. But it was a great opportunity for something right down the road. But not only that, we've had a little bit of success and we've had a fun team and we've got exciting girls on the roster. I think they see that and they know that they want to put on a little bit of a show down there. And that's our plan, and they asked me who I wanted to wrestle. We had a few different people on our slate. I wanted it to be the most interesting matchup I could think of. Lee Miracle over at Campbellsville. He's actually retired. He was in the Navy before. So not only that, they might have beat us last year. So I want to make sure that we set things right and send things in the right direction here. But I want to do it in style, and I also want both teams to have a ton of fun doing it. So
Well, it just was one of those situations. I remember back, I think it was Stanford or something on the guys' side out on the West Coast. They did something similar and that sort of thing. And when that popped up on my Instagram feed, I was like, wow, that's, a women's duel on the aircraft carrier. That's going to be a lot of fun. For those of the group that missed the announcement, when do you is that your opening duel? Is that your first duel of the season?
So it'll be our first duel. We'll compete at the Princeton Open the weekend before, and that's just tournament. But then we'll be back, and that'll be our essentially our home opener. But it's not quite home. It's a little further down the road. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is it down in like Hilton Head, Myrtle
Charleston.
Beach, Charleston, Charleston?
Yep.
Okay, very cool. And looking through your schedule, I'm again, uh, I'm impressed like with the level of competition that you guys face, right? You face Life with being here in the Southeast. Life University and the women's program at Life University is a big deal. Coach Flavin, Coach Sword, they've done a great job there. And you guys, you're 0-2 against Life, I think. um,
Oh,
so is this the year that we're gonna take it and get a W against really one of the best women's programs around, honestly?
yeah, and we absolutely love what they're doing over there. We talk a lot. We've got a great relationship with them. So just being able to compete with them at tournaments and be able to create events together and things. We try to get something involved every year where we're competing against their team because they really have done it right and they've done a really really great job. And for our girls to be able to see that consistently and us be able to emulate a little bit of that and try to bring a little bit of that to our own program is important to us. The the schedule itself, our goal over the last 2 years has been to find every single event that's going to challenge us. And
Well, and you have. I mean,
yeah. So we wrestled 8 top 10 teams last year.
right.
And this year we've already got 8 on our schedule, and that doesn't count the national duels. And so we'll certainly see some top 10 programs at the national duels this year, but we really just want to get out there and we want people to know like we're looking for the toughest tournaments to be able to not or dual meets really because in those situations you can't avoid matchups. So we want to go out there, we want to see who the best people in the country are, and we want to toe the line with them and see where we're at as consistently as possible. I think that's what's going to prepare us ultimately for the end of the year and winning the national tournament. That's going to come from our girls knowing who's going to be at the national tournament. So I think we can get out there and fight for those things. Luckily, you know, for life, they're an NAIA team, so our duel is more for fun. So we won't see each other at the nationals, but we will be matching up, and this is a year we're looking to change the tides a little bit and hopefully take that one, and we're gonna have a lot of fun doing it. So it's gonna be a
Absolutely.
good time.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, like, I mean, as someone who has watched kind of the evolution over a long period of time, the women, I mean, the guys get into a lot, they have a lot of emotions in their duels as well, but
Mm.
it is very interesting watching the girls and the women. They really get after it, and they have a lot of passion for their teammates and everything else.
Yeah,
It's just a lot of fun to watch. If you haven't been out to a women's duel, it's a fantastic experience.
yeah,
So I want to flip the page and go to you're talking about facing the best competition. You're talking about, seeing these top programs. You see Iowa, you see Lock Haven at the Journeyman Duels, those sorts of things. Um, and you really can only do so because of the roster you've put together. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you've got Paige Waremeister. I hope I said Paige's name correctly.
yeah,
Maddie Kubecki. You've got, is it Cassie Zamet?
Cassia,
Cassia Zamet. And
yep,
then, obviously we know Henley Haynes because she's a Florida girl,
yep.
really, really well. How have you worked to kind of assemble this roster, and how are they coming together as a group that can actually make a run for a national title?
Well, I think a lot of it is attributed to the girls that, kind of got us off on the right foot. So Paige and Ella were part of one of my first women's recruiting classes while I was the assistant. And in the time that I took over, I had to bring in a lot of recruits and things, and they really set the standard and made sure we were vetting everybody to the fullest because they got to know the girls really well that were coming in. And I think we just set a really great precedent last year. Where our culture is our most important feature here, and we're really, really, really holding the girls to a high standard, but we're really focused on having fun and finding girls that love wrestling too. I think that has really helped us out. And they've been able to vet those girls. And then same thing, once we had 10 freshmen last year, every single one of them stayed all the way through. We've got 0 girls that have entered the transfer portal.
Oh,
And
wow.
we really just like to have fun and bring in girls that are going to emulate a little bit of what we're looking for, but also bring their own style and some things to that. So I think what's helped a lot is our girls know what they want in a program, and we've discussed that very thoroughly, and given them the reins on a lot of the recruiting trips and making sure that we are bringing in the right girls that are going to match our energy and our positivity, and really just match our love for the sport and really keep things that are important, keep them at the height of their priority list. So over the last 2 years, we've brought in 24 girls. And so our entire roster is 4 juniors, 3 of which are graduating, 1 senior, and the rest are freshmen and sophomores.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so we have a huge freshman sophomore contingent, and really the biggest piece of getting them together and getting them moving in the right direction is allowing for them to be together. And we did a few training camps over the summertime with our club and got the girls together for some time at the lake and some time to train and get to know each other in multiple different ways. And I think that really sets us up for success once we hit campus and we start training together. We really do talk about what we want, and we ask questions. We want to know where you're headed, and we want to know how we can help and provide those opportunities. And ultimately, it's up to the girls to get that moving in the right direction, and they've done a great job. I'd like to say it's all me, not a chance. I just like to I just hopefully see the right attitude when I'm out recruiting, and then I try to bring it bring that person on campus and see if the girls agree,
Yeah.
and when they do, they let me know, and they really do enjoy a lot of the recruits we're bringing in, and they try to make sure they know what we're looking for and make sure this is the right place for them. So we're just trying to create a bit of a home for everybody.
Well, I think you might have answered my final question already, but I'm going to give you a chance to kind of expand on that if there is anything else to say, because I think you captured it. I was going to ask you, what is it that makes Presbyterian and the women's program there special? And I think you talked a lot about culture. Is there anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I think there's just an idea. Over the last couple of years, we've talked about setting the standard, and we have some things that we really do stay true to. And we talk about the word grit a lot and what it takes to be a wrestler. You need grit, but to us, we've got a different meaning there. We've got grit, and we talk about how gratitude, resilience, integrity, and trust are four of our
Oh,
pillars that are going
I
to
love
really help
that.
us. Yeah, it's been great, and the girls really have they emulate every bit of that, and being around that energy is something that we hear from the teachers, we hear from the people in the community, the churches in the area that know our girls really well. There's just a positivity and just a light that is surrounding them when you're with them, and I think that really does make us special. But I also think there's a piece of them that wants to make sure we're setting a great example, because we are the first ever Division I women's wrestling program, but we don't want to be one of four. We want to be one of 100,
Right.
and we want people to be able to look at our program and say, hey, we can do that at our college, and we want that. We want some of that here. So let's add a program. Let's, maybe we can check out what they're doing and see how they do it so well. And our goal is to consistently be a top level program and be one of the best programs in the country. And if we're going to have any consistency in that, our culture and what we have as a standard is got to stay consistent, and we're going to have to continue to live up to that. So
Well, you guys have set the bar, and you have you have a great group from what it looks like on the outside. I don't obviously not in the room, so I don't know that specifically, but it looks like you have a great group of girls, and you certainly have thrown down the gauntlet as far as the schedule and the challenges. I am so looking forward to the Yorktown duel. I might actually try to come up and take some pictures or something. I think it'd be a ton of
that'd be
fun.
awesome. Yeah,
And
we definitely gotta get there.
I want to wish you the best of luck on the season. And yeah, you guys take care.
Well, I really appreciate it. Thanks for all that you do for the Southeast and just wrestling in general. We appreciate having you around, and we definitely appreciate you always supporting our program.
You take care, coach.
All right, you too.